narrators. I'm here today to share the truth behind Chara. Yep, Chara, the so-called villain of Undertale, the one supposedly responsible for the No Mercy run and the deaths of all our beloved friends. Right? Well, no. There's a huge misconception about their actions, and I'm here today to clear all that up using evidence from the game. Before I start this video, I'd just like to give a little shout out to Amino Apps, who recently created an Undertale Amino app for mobile, created specifically for fans to meet fans and discuss their love for the game. You can share art, theories, like this one, cosplays, chats, blogs, roleplays, that, and so much more. It's a super cool place to meet new people and have more fun in the fanbase, especially if you don't tend to use other social networking sites or you just want a more Undertale-based place to chat. It has a ton of features to help you get started in the community, like featured pages and newsfeed, and hey, Judgment Boy's on there too. Go check it out and download it completely free. Have fun, everyone! Now, on to the theory. A huge part of this theory is revolved around the basically canon concept that Chara is the narrator for the game. This doesn't really need much arguing, considering the narrator literally says, "It's you. Despite everything, it's still you. Still just you, Frisk. And finally, it's me, Chara," when you check the mirror in respective parts of the story. The narrator also knows details about both monsters and items that neither we nor Frisk would know, e.g. they can translate Rocket speech and recall origins of everything in Asgore's home, where they lived. There's a lot of fun you can have learning about Chara through this theory. They are optimistic in a pacifist run and pessimistic in the No Mercy. They talk endlessly about cycles and journeys, and even express guilt and sadness at their past. There are even many hints to their fun-spirited personality in there too. There's a lot more evidence for this theory. It's practically canon, and helps give us a lot of the info we need to decipher Chara. Let's start off with a little info about Chara's backstory. We don't know much, as both Frisk and Chara's pasts are left mostly ambiguous, but there are clues in the game we can piece together to tell their stories. Chara climbed Mount êñjðÐ. They tripped and fell down into the land of monsters. Some may see this incident as an accident, but later on, Asriel asks Frisk why they climbed the mountain. He alludes to some sadly suicidal urges on Frisk's side, and then goes on immediately to say that Chara climbed Mount êñjðÐ for not a very happy reason. Furthermore, when you check the faded ribbon in the ruins, the narration, Chara, reads, "If you're cuter, monsters won't hit you as hard." That pretty much speaks for itself, but if you need a little more of a nudge, it's a pretty heavy indicator that Chara was abused on the surface by humans. This is further evidenced by the fact that Toriel has dulled down all the tools in her home and hidden all the knives. And we know that Chara meant no ill harm to the Dreamer family, more on that later, so it's implied that Chara actually planned on using these tools on themselves. From all this, we can gather that Chara was not in the best place in their life when they fell. They obviously climbed the mountain to commit suicide, and most likely from abuse from humans. This explains their distaste for the human race, but when they fell down, they were taken in by the loving dreamers who gave them a home and treated them with love and kindness. A lot of people may think that Chara was simply playing along and pretending to care about the dreamers, but that's far from the truth. When you check around New Home in a No Mercy run, Chara will find snippets from their past that Asgore kept around the house. A pink hand-knit sweater reading Mr. Dad Guy, macaroni art of a flower, described as "For King Dad", a drawing of a golden flower by Chara's bed. All of these were made by Chara for their family. If they were made by Asriel, they would have just said Dad. Chara poured their love for their family into these gifts. They were abused by humans, and the only people who had ever showed kindness to them were the Dreamers. Why wouldn't they love them back? No one ever said Chara hated monsters. This leads into their plan, the one to gather 6 human souls. Many interpret this plan as some carefully crafted scheme to kill all humans, but it's really quite the opposite. The plan starts when Chara and Asriel decide to make a butterscotch pie for Asgore. They confuse cups of butter for buttercups, and use those in the recipe instead. And before you say this was intentional on Chara's behalf, we're talking about a possibly 10-year-old here who liked Star Wars and dogs and stupid puns. They didn't even know the flowers were poisonous until after the incident. Otherwise, they could have gone through with the plan far before. The pie poisons Asgore, and he gets very sick. Asriel comments on this later by saying that he should have laughed it off like Chara did. Oh, so this means Chara enjoyed Asgore's pain, right? Wrong! There's a ludicrous amount of evidence in the game that points to laughing being used by numerous characters as a coping mechanism for pain. For instance, Toriel laughs when you kill her. Sans tells jokes despite being depressed. The villagers in Snowdin laugh away their sorrows. Snowdrake's father describes his sad life, laughs, and then says, "That's not funny." Laughing at Snowdrake's mother's amalgamate prompts the narration from Chara, "You laugh and keep laughing. It's so funny, you can't stop. Tears run down your face." What? You didn't do that? If you laugh again, Chara says, "But it's not funny." Heckling the amalgamate yields the narration, "You look horrible. Why are you even alive?" What? You didn't say that? Checking the royal guards in the No Mercy run directly references a Japanese novel about adoptive family and suicide. The passage reads, "I see two lovers staring over the edge of the cauldron of hell. Do they both wish for death? That means their love will end in hell." I couldn't stop laughing. This is a direct quote from the Japanese novel Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. It is written in a style similar to Chara's speech style, and it includes, among other things, tea, flowers, knives, death, suicide, and a character who has transitioned from male to female. It also includes ambiguous familial relationships and the idea that family is not necessarily linked to one's blood. Asriel also laughs when he is about to die. Mettaton explicitly says, "My poor love, I'm so filled with grief, I can't stop laughing," after laughing about Frisk almost dying. Even Undyne laughs when her body is slowly fading away after being cut in half. Also, check out my gospel. They have countless references to putting on a lighthearted exterior so people won't worry about them, and talk about being alone and scared of someone coming. They're a mime after all. They literally mimic Chara. I think that's about enough evidence to confidently say that Chara didn't enjoy Asgore's pain when he was accidentally poisoned. Chara really was just laughing off the pain, trying to make light of a traumatic situation to cope. This is a symptom highly found in mentally ill people. Moving on with their plan, once Chara realized that buttercups were poisonous, they had an idea. Monsters knew that a human soul combined with a monster soul would be powerful enough to cross the barrier, but not to break it. Now, if Chara only wanted to cross the barrier to kill humans, they could have easily just killed one of the dreamers and taken their soul, right? But they didn't. Instead, they discussed the plan with Asriel and proceeded to poison themselves with buttercups, an excruciatingly painful way to die. Symptoms include bloody diarrhea, excessive salivation, colic, and severe blistering of the mouth. They willingly put themselves through this in order to spare their family, and by extension, free all monsters from the underground. The plan was that when Chara died from poisoning, Asriel would absorb their soul, cross the barrier, gather 6 human souls, and return to break it, freeing monsters. At first glance, when listening to the tapes in the True Lab, it may sound like Chara is manipulating Asriel into the plan, but upon closer examination, Asriel is totally fine with it. He agrees to the plan, knowing fully well that he would have to kill 6 humans in order for it to succeed. He's of course a little concerned, but he agrees, realizing they'd be able to free all monsters together. The only time he truly hesitated was when he realized how much pain Chara was in. He cared about them. They were his closest siblings, and seeing them suffering on their deathbed, being the only person to know that it was all intentional and not just some sickness, it was a lot for Asriel to deal with, but he kept going with it, from his own will, and continued with the plan. Narration throughout the game indicates that no one, human nor monster, could have ever predicted what would happen when a monster absorbed a human soul. It had never happened before, and no one knew what to expect. So when Asriel absorbed Chara's soul, they didn't know that power would be split between them. So Chara picked up their dead body and carried it to the surface. When humans saw this, they blindly assumed the monster had killed the human and immediately attacked. Chara had known they would attack, and wanted to show Asriel the true nature of humans, that they really are cruel and attack things they don't understand. Asriel was dying, he was severely wounded, and the only way for him to survive would be to fight back. Only then did Chara urge him to kill more humans. It was the only way for him to survive. Chara didn't want their best friend to die for nothing. So they tried to use their power to fight back against the humans. They were trying to protect him, and they were filled with bad feelings towards the humans after being abused by them. No wonder. But Asriel refused, picked up Chara's body, and turned back. He passed away and became Flowey, while Chara remained dead but semi-conscious in their body. Toriel took them back and buried them at the entrance to the mountain, where golden flowers bloomed from the seeds still stuck to Chara's dead body. And this is where the game begins. Years pass, and Frisk climbs the mountain. They fall, and they land on top of Chara's grave. Frisk's determination is what makes Chara's spirit wake up. They were already somewhat conscious, as they are seen describing their experiences in their coffin, but now they are awake, and it's from here that we decide their fate. Do we mercy, or do we fight? Whichever path we choose, we as the player decide what will happen. Think about it. A pacifist run is a result of us choosing to spare, and a no mercy run is when we fight. But the only thing that changes to cause each of these runs is us. We are the one that hits mercy or fight. We are a driving force in this world, an existing being in the game, only visible in consequences. We are determination. We decide the fate of our friends, and we also decide the fate of Chara. If we choose to mercy, Chara will become our ally. They will translate monster dialogue for us, give us helpful tips, give us directions, and even transfer their memories of Asgore, telling them to stay determined from when they were on their deathbed to help Frisk, stay determined when they die. And finally, the most important thing they do. During Azrael's boss fight, we must save each of our friends by restoring their memories and kindness, by reminding them of the good times we had together throughout the game. We play fight with Undyne, geek out with Alphys, and so much more. We remind everyone of everything we went through together that led to us being friends. But when it comes to saving Azrael, we don't really have any good memories of him. I mean, heck, just 5 minutes ago he was a murderous flower who stole the souls of all our friends, and is now trying to destroy the entire world. What are we supposed to do? But then out of nowhere, there's a flashback, a scene of a memory from a long, long time ago of Azrael finding Chara and helping them back to his home. These memories are what make Azrael remember his compassion, gather the souls, and break the barrier, freeing all of monster kind. But those memories didn't come from Frisk, it happened decades ago, and they certainly didn't come from us. We didn't know the full story, so who did they come from? You guessed it, Chara. Chara is the reason we're able to save monsters and give everyone a happy ending. Without them, monsters would have been trapped under the surface forever, and Azrael would still be stuck in a world without love. Chara helps us remind him of kindness and compassion, and without that, the pacifist ending would be impossible. So that's great! Chara helps us save everyone in the pacifist run. So what about the no mercy run? Well, imagine waking up and the last thing you remember is being brutally murdered by humans. Then suddenly you're a ghost following this human that's for some reason killing everything it sees. Pretty messed up, right? That's how Chara feels. But they have no choice. They're stuck with this human through determination, and they have to go along with this sick mass murder of everyone they ever knew and loved. And believe me, they aren't enjoying it. The narration goes absolutely silent during the fights with Toriel and Asgore. They express despair when Undyne, their heroine, is slain. They have no idea what's going on or why this is happening, but they know one thing: stay determined. And this time, that message isn't coming from them. It's coming from us. We're the ones telling them to keep going, keep killing everything they see until there's nothing left. We push them on until it's all they know. We're the ones who hit fight, and we're the ones who kill every single monster in the underground. Chara has no part in that, until we force them to. Over the course of the No Mercy run, you may have noticed a little change in who exactly is controlling Frisk's actions. Sometimes they'll move of their own accord and act roughly when climbing on Monster Kid. Then, during the fight with Sans, we continuously press fight to strike him down, without much success. Until the last few seconds of the fight, we strike. Sans taunts, but then gets struck again, and this time for good. We never pressed a button to make this happen. It was an automatic event. The same happens with Asgore. He is struck without prompt and then finished off by Flowey. Chara later says that as Frisk's LV and EXP raised, Chara themselves became more and more powerful. This heavily implies that Chara is taking over control of the game. So that's weird, right? But then this happens. Flowey appears and begs for his life, desperately trying to remind Chara of their friendship, saying he'd do anything for them as long as he could live. He's fully expecting to die like the others, but it doesn't come as soon as one might think. There's a pause, a moment of waiting in the game, and you soon realize that you are the one who was supposed to press enter to kill Flowey. A momentary relapse of control being given back to you. So what does this mean? Chara hesitated. And if you try it out, this is actually your last chance to back out, reset, and not face any consequences for a no mercy run. You can still reset, and your files will be fine. This is Chara giving you one last chance to reconsider, to spare them from having to kill their brother. But then, you push them once more, forcing them to kill their best friend. They give in and accept the role you have assigned them, murderer. They kill Flowey in one last fit of despair and energy until they are consumed by hatred and vengeance. Chara appears before you in a field of darkness. A heartbeat sounds in the background, much like the one êñjðÆ described while being filled with determination. Chara introduces themselves with a greetings, much like their mother Toriel does at the start of the game. Chara thanks you. They talk about how they awoke confused until you showed them what to do. Your power awakened me from death. My human soul, my determination, they were not mine, but yours. At first, I was so confused. Our plan had failed, hadn't it? Why was I brought back to life? You. With your guidance, I realized the purpose of my reincarnation. Power. Chara explicitly states that it was you, the player, who taught them to murder, to kill, all for the sake of power. It was your influence that brought them to this point. They're just a kid after all. They're very impressionable, and you impressed upon them that murder was the right answer. Together, we eradicated the enemy and became strong. HP, attack, defense, gold, EXP, LV. Every time a number increases, that feeling, that's me, Chara. Now we have reached the absolute. There is nothing left for us here. Let us erase this pointless world and move on to the next. Chara talks about how with your help and guidance, they were able to become stronger and assume control. Their only goal at this point is power, thanks to you, and advise you to assist them in erasing the world so that you can move on and consume another. But I'm sure most of you are feeling a little hesitant at that idea, despite it being literally what you just did, so many players' immediate response is to refuse this offer. You do not erase the world. Chara is flung into a state of confusion and betrayal. I mean, you told them you wanted power, right? They were helping you get it. You were supposed to do it together. They can't understand. No? How curious. You must have misunderstood. Since when were you the one in control? They destroy the world. And, I mean, yeah, that's a little messed up, but you did just kind of do the exact same thing like 5 minutes ago. And all out of boredom and curiosity, too. You wait through 10 minutes of wind howling. That's also kind of like êñjðÆ's determination. This kid must really like êñjδÆ. Until Chara reappears in voice form. Interesting. You want to go back. You want to go back to the world you destroyed. It was you who pushed everything to its edge. It was you who led the world to its destruction. But you cannot accept it. You think you are above consequences. And right there, those few simple sentences completely summarize the fanbase's unreasonable hatred for Chara. We do think we are above consequence. We think it's just a game, a toy for us to play with, a world for us to bend to our will. And sure it is. That's why there's no mercy run in the first place, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that we should be allowed to get away with it without consequence. Most will compare Chara or Frisk to the player, but honestly, Flowey comes closest to truly representing how the player feels. He has power, and with that power he can do whatever he wants with this world. Befriend, kill, mend, destroy. All out of boredom and curiosity. It's sheer intrigue, the very drive that fuels players worldwide in any game. Until we get bored of it and seek out a darker side of the game. This is what makes us so determined to fulfill a no mercy run. But we just can't deal with that kind of blame. We are only intimidated by Chara because they are one of the only characters in the game who directly address your cruel, horrid actions and point out how you were the only one making this suffering happen. We don't like being told what we already know, so we need someone to blame, someone to just shovel that nasty stuff onto and forget about it. And that's why we use Chara. The one character without a super visible arc of kindness or backstory or even personality. They're our blame, our scapegoat, if you will. But there's really so much more to them than just that. We just have to look a little deeper and keep our hearts open to mercy. If we answer no when Chara asks if we think we are above consequences, they will simply reply, "Then what are you looking for?" And it's true, what are we looking for in a world we just wiped out? The No Mercy ending is built entirely to feel anticlimactic. We force our way through nearly impossible boss fights, ignoring the pleas of characters for their lives, the hundreds of opportunities for us to back out and try another, kinder run. What were we expecting? Some kind of reward? In fact, if you do yet another No Mercy run, Chara will ask you once again what you expected. You and I are not the same, are we? The soul resonates with a strange feeling. There is a reason you continue to recreate this world. There is a reason you continue to destroy it. You are racked with a perverted sentimentality. I cannot understand these feelings anymore. They are disgusted with our actions and completely cannot wrap their head around the idea of killing just for fun. They don't understand us and think we are sick for doing what we do, and honestly, who can blame them? We were only wiping out the world for fun, as all gamers do. We want to find every secret in the game, even if it means ruining our save files and all the tiny little lives contained in them forever. But Chara, they only partnered up with you because you led them to believe you were destroying the world for a greater purpose. They want to cast the world into the abyss, and seem on board with Flowey's idea of erasing those pointless memories. Chara wanted to forget. Chara didn't want to live in a world without love. Chara then goes on to say, "Despite this, I feel obligated to suggest, should you choose to recreate this world once more, another path would be better suited." Heck, they even tell us not to do another No Mercy run, and heavily encourage us to take on a pacifist role instead. Where did the idea that they're a heartless murderer come from again? So then, if you're smart, you'll play again, and this time do the pacifist route. Everything seems perfectly normal and happy, like all the murder and pain you'd inflicted on this world had just vanished. Right up until the very end of the game, post-credits, the normal scene of Toriel leaving a slice of good old biscotch pie for Frisk is shown, but then a different face is there to greet us. Frisk turns to the camera and opens their red eyes, but their body becomes Chara's. That's right, Chara's still in control. And if you choose not to stay with Toriel, the image of Frisk with their friends on the surface after the game will be changed to have the monsters' faces scratched out in red, and Frisk's figure replaced with Chara's. Oh, but that means they're a super mega evil murderer, and all they ever wanted was death! No, hang on. Remember how we were the one who destroyed the world last time we played? Yeah, that's still a thing, and a thing we have to face the consequences for. Chara takes away our control from the game, but not just to be needlessly cruel, to punish us for our own cruelty. I mean, after killing everyone, possibly more than once, why would we deserve a happy ending with them? Why should we deserve to act like nothing ever happened? Chara is there to serve justice for their friends, the monsters, to show us that if we are cruel, the effect of that cruelty never truly goes away. You can still be kind, of course, but you are still responsible for your actions. There's even a possibility that Chara doesn't actually kill anyone after the post-No Mercy pacifist run, and that whole image of the monsters was just a pretty obvious message to stop killing everything already. So, TLDR, you are the evil mastermind behind the No Mercy run, not Chara. But there's still kindness in this child, still a chance to love and to be loved. The dreamers all very clearly missed this child. They were the fate of humans and monsters, sure, but they were also family, a child, a sibling, a friend. Flowey talks about how Chara is the only one who could understand him. Even if he could never truly love them in his current form, he still cares for them deeply. And after the credits of a pacifist run, Flowey will approach and talk about how we were trying to stop him from misusing his power to destroy the world. But then after this message, after his request for us not to reset, he turns to us and says, "See you later, Chara." A moment of forgiveness between friends, an acknowledgement that Chara wasn't all that bad, and finally, both of these children can be laid to rest. And even then, even if Chara did want to kill, is that really the worst thing anyone in the game has ever done? I mean, Toriel almost kidnaps children and left a suicidal man to take care of an entire hopeless kingdom by himself. Sans traumatizes kids with death threats even when they've done nothing wrong. Papyrus? Okay, Papyrus is free of sin, but Undyne, she chases you around the entirety of Waterfall, spears waving in the air, screaming at the top of her lungs about how the world would be better if you humans were just dead. In Elfies, she manipulated situations just to make herself look better, and even created the Amalgamates. Mettaton literally says he fully intends on killing you just to be popular on the surface. Asgore, oh Asgore, he killed 6 human children, and then planned on killing Frisk too. And last but not least, Flowey. I don't think I really need to go into much detail about why he's bad, but just in case you need a little refreshment, he literally killed every single monster, in every single possible way, in every single timeline, for fun. But we take the message of the game to heart, and we keep an open mind and a patient soul, and we give every single one of these people a chance, because we know that everyone can be a good person if they just try. Heck, at some points we only mercy because we know it's what we have to do to get a true pacifist ending, i.e. Flowey, but we still truly forgive them later on when we come to understand their actions, no matter how cruel they are. We forgive the liars, the manipulators, the tormentors, and even the murderers. But Chara? Chara only killed one person, themselves, to save their beloved family and their entire kingdom. They were the future of humans and monsters, the hope of an entire world. And when they first woke up after dying, they must have thought of themselves as a failure to everyone they wanted to save and protect. But we have the power to give them a second chance. We can choose to show them kindness and how to be kind. And they can help us in return by helping us save all monsters and giving everyone a happy ending. So, don't you think they deserve one too? Oh, and before anyone throws, but they call themselves a demon! Surely that means they're the villain of Undertale! Asriel calls himself the absolute god Piper Death, and no one bats an eye before forgiving him. I believe that Chara is a test for us. Sure, we can go through the whole game thinking, oh yeah, I'm kind, I can mercy these people, but we only really mercy them for the true pacifist ending, and we only truly forgive them after some tear-jerking scenes with heartwarming soundtracks. But how far exactly does our mercy extend? Can we still learn to forgive someone from their mistakes if we have to look a little harder to even find them? Or do we just mercy for the sake of the game and not really care about the little details that actually make a world of difference? Either way, no matter what choice you take, Chara is not the villain. Undertale doesn't need a villain. That about wraps it up for this theory, which isn't much of a theory, more just some facts and secrets about Chara and the game in general. Nonetheless, I hope you all enjoyed, and if there's one thing to take from this video, it's stay determined, but still kind. Keep an open mind and remember that anyone can change and be a good person if they just try, but sometimes it helps to have a little helping hand in that matter. Thanks so much for watching. You should go check out Judgment Boy